See that terrific speed just running right past.
And you got a nice chance to pick this up. Nice little cut.
They got to a nice start there, and you see Dre just put a nice little shoulder in him, just really dropped him right in his tracks.
Give it up the middle, nowhere to go.
The second half of the Michigan high school football season, and more importantly, league titles up for grabs. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Chippewa Valley High School. I'm Brad Fetters for CVC TV, alongside my broadcast partner, Jeff Vitale. Tonight promises to be a pivotal game. The MAC Red as our Chippewa Valley Big Reds take on the Sterling Heights Stevenson Titans. Now, Jeff, the Titans come into play tonight with a perfect 3-0 record in the MAC Red, and they're really in the driver's seat when it comes to the league title, and the red-hot winners of 4 straight.
Yeah, they are a big, nasty, physical football team with a monster offensive line. When we say monster offensive line, we're talking like Division I college type offensive line. And they will pound on you and wear on you. And with, you know, a very good tailback who's maybe one of the fastest kids in the league, along with a very, very good quarterback. This team controls time of possession, but not only that, puts up serious points on the board. They are very efficient offensively, and they really wear you out.
As for the Big Reds, they rebounded nicely last week after their loss to rivals Dakota, beating Romeo on the road 37-34. They carry a 4-1 overall record into tonight's game, and it's their senior running back, Cephas Harris III, that continues to really tear up the competition. Harris has 14 total touchdowns and is averaging nearly 250 all-purpose yards per game. What can we expect tonight out of the Big Reds?
Well, I mean, if you're an opposing team, obviously the first thing you got to stop is number 7. I think what Coach Denreiter does from an offensive coordinator standpoint, better than a lot of offensive coordinators, is find lots of different ways to get Cephas involved. So, like if you're packing the box, sometimes you'll see him run a swing pass where they get him out in the space and let him work one-on-one. But they're also very patient. You know, he'll crack. You saw it a few weeks ago where he was hitting 3, 4, or 5 against Eisenhower. Next thing you know, 86 yards on the sideline, and that leads to a 250-yard rushing or 300-yard rushing game, right? So, you know, this offensive line at Chippewa Valley is nothing to take for granted either. They're big, physical. They like to run the ball. But I think for the Big Reds tonight too, they're really going to have to do a good job of mixing in the passing game. You know, Ryan Schuster's going to have a big game with Altamirano and Ernat, and getting some of the other guys involved in the passing game to kind of help loosen this Titan defense up a little bit and keep that offense off the field.
This one really should be a dandy here tonight. Look forward to calling the action. The Big Reds looking to get back into the league title hunt, while the Titans hope to secure at least a share of the MAC Red Championship with a win here tonight. Let's quickly go down to field level where the Chippewa Valley Choir has assembled for tonight's national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, in honor of all those who have given treasure and blood for our freedom, we'd ask at this time that you please rise. Gentlemen, remove your cap. As seniority, led by Mr. James Picard, leads the national anthem.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air,
And gentlemen, there's gentlemen down there.
Sun just beginning to set here at Chippewa Valley High School. So glad you decided to tune us in. Homecoming 2021, Chippewa Valley Big Reds and the Stevenson Titans. Brad Fetters alongside Jeff Vitale, nearly set to go. Stevenson won the opening toss, elected to receive the kickoff. So they will have the ball first. Two of the highest scoring teams in the MAC Red going head to head here tonight. All bets are off. This one should be an outstanding ball game.
It was quite a war last year too, if I can remember it correctly. You know, this is it. You know, Chippewa, they want to get back in the MAC Red race. You can be right in the hunt with 1 week to go with a victory tonight. And if you're Stevenson, you know, you put yourself fully in the driver's seat with 1 week to go with Romeo looming, where for Chippewa, it's Grosse Pointe South looming. You know, and both those opponents, you know, Romeo tonight playing Eisenhower, Grosse Pointe South traveling to Dakota. You know, this is a big game, and you know, like we've seen all year, you know, you can't look ahead. You know, Chippewa lost to Dakota, Romeo beats Dakota, Chippewa beats Romeo. So there's so many things going on because the schedule in this division is just so brutal. I mean, if you're just a step off your game 1 week, you're going down.
And we talked about it during our broadcast of the Eisenhower Chippewa Valley game. We talked about it. It is the toughest division in all of Michigan, the MAC Red, and top to bottom, it is absolutely loaded.
Well, last week's hero set to kick off. He hit the 37-yard field goal with 40 seconds to go in the ball game to give a 37-34 victory over the Bulldogs in what was a heck of a shootout.
Kick is deep and over the goal line for an automatic touchback. Yeah, Chippewa Valley got out big, 17-0 over Romeo, and then had to hold on for that victory and what turned out to be really a back-and-forth second half.
Yeah, Harris had a big game also, but yeah, they were just throwing haymakers at each other. Two heavyweights just slugging it out.
And Chippewa Valley gave up over 500 yards of offense to the Bulldogs, including 362 on the ground, and really that's Stevenson's bread and butter. They're going to really try to control the line of scrimmage, control time of possession, and just chew up a lot of ground game in that wing T look. And, of course, Stevenson comes out now in the shotgun. They got a senior signal caller back there. That's really good. Biagio Madonna, and he's going to take it off by himself. Look out. Madonna up to the 50, crosses the 40 into Chippewa Valley territory. The Big Reds can't bring him down as he finally gets hauled down from behind at the 11-yard line. Talk about a big start to the game there.
Well, the Titans steal the edge, and Madonna just gets off there and untouched, and the big fellow's showing some jets as he motors down the field. And again, you can't go high on this kid. You go high on this kid, you're going to lose. And as you can see here, it's just not going to go well for you. Nice job of blocking on the perimeter, and Titans are in business in the red zone.
68 yards on the very first play of the game, and this time he'll hand off, looking for some room. It's number 21, Kwiatkowski, as there's three playmakers to pay attention to on this Stevenson lineup, including Kwiatkowski. We already met Biagio Madonna. You know, obviously you have to look at Jordan Ramsey, the tailback. He's going to be their primary ball handler, you would think, here tonight.
Yeah, they're down at the 2. He hasn't even touched the ball yet.
And now here's that wing T look. Madonna under center. Hands off, a little confusion there at the mesh point. Kwiatkowski runs into that big Chippewa Valley defensive line. The ball comes out. The officials are going to call this play dead.
Number 74, Encondo, David Encondo was actually quick to get on that ball, although the whistle might have came a little quick, but nice job there. You can see, though, how effective the Stevenson offensive line is. You know, when have you seen a team come out like this against Chippewa's defense and mow it right down the field? And, you know, Coach Wilson is going to have to get to that board pretty early here and find a way to slow these guys down a little bit because they have come out pumped up.
And that's one thing Coach Merchant was very concerned about, the inability of bringing down Biagio Madonna. He says he's a big boy and he's tough to bring down, and there's a touchdown for the Titans. Opening drive of the game, net 6 points. Kwiatkowski just motors into the end zone for the quick 6-0 lead.
Well, they're showing you why right now they're undefeated because they just mowed it right down the field, and Kwiatkowski marches into the end zone. But that was pretty easy, Brad. Pretty easy.
All set up, thanks in large part to the 68-yard run by Biagio Madonna.
2-point play.
And they're going to go for it. Kwiatkowski's going to get it. Oh, boy. They have come in and punched Chippewa Valley square in the mouth.
Yeah, I mean, we're not even 2 minutes into the game, and it's 8-0, and, I mean, haven't even slowed them down yet. Very impressive. I mean, this is what they boast. Coming in, they're one of the highest scoring teams, and not only that, but they don't have a lot of possessions a game because they're so efficient. 36.2 points a game. I guess the one knock is you give up a few points every now and then, 22. But like all the Red Division teams started off against Catholic schools, had some good battles there, but. I mean, this offensive line is huge and nasty, and the Big Red offense is going to have to answer here. They're going to be in for a dogfight, and I see the 2 has not been put up on the scoreboard yet, but it is 8-0.
And I asked Coach Merchant, I said, flat out, are you expecting a shootout here tonight? And he kind of laughed, and he says, every time we expect a shootout, it's usually a 13-7 type ball game.
And when you expect a dogfight, it's 49-48 and triple overtime or something,
Well, we know this Chippewa Valley team has some playmakers on their special teams, including Cephas Harris III. He wears 7 in red. He's deep for the Big Reds.
We take a look here, the way they got the ball positioned on the tee. He's going to onside kick this.
Yeah,
There's no way he's kicking this to Shamar Hurd.
Or at least going to try to pop it up. And he's angled towards that right sideline, and the Big Reds kind of angle up, and it is an onside kick, and it bounces off the midsection of an up back, and it will be recovered by Chippewa Valley.
I'll tell you what, Brad, Chippewa's going to have to find a way to match the physicality here, because even on that first drive, but even on that kickoff, red jerseys are flying everywhere. Right now the Titans have really taken the physical game to the Big Reds early, something they're not used to seeing.
No, strength versus strength along the lines. We've talked about Chippewa Valley, one of the larger teams up front, but there is plenty of size wearing white here tonight. So it'll be Schuster in the shotgun to start things out. Cephas Harris in the backfield, the all-purpose back. Mr. Everything leads the team in rushing yards and receiving yards. Big hole up the middle into Titan territory down to the 45. First carry of the game is good enough for 14.
Counterpunch by the Big Reds, right up the gut, right at them, and nice job by that offensive line. And you get Harris going full speed. Look out.
They're going to fake to him this time. Looking to go deep. Receiver wide open. Punch, counter punch. Touchdown, Big Reds. Kalen Shaw on the touchdown reception. 44 yards. And it is now 8-6.
Well, we told you, Ryan's going to have a big game. You're going to really keep an eye on Cephas. He had a great run on first down. And when you can run the ball like that, just a little bit of play action gets that guy to bite. Shaw runs right by him, and he's wide open, and Schuster put it right on the money in stride, and Shaw gets in for 6, and the Big Reds come right back with a counterpunch.
Perfectly thrown pass is good enough for 6. Ahmed Basic on to add the extra point. The snap is good. The kick is up and straight through the uprights with 9:46 now remaining in the opening quarter of play. It's the Titans 8, the Big Reds 7.
Yeah, 2 minutes and 14 seconds into this game, Brad. We got 15 combined points on the scoreboard already. So, yeah, this is going to be fun. Strap in your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. Hang on.
So I guess my prediction of a shootout thus far is correct.
They might have to change the stadium name tonight to the OK Corral.
Scoreboard operator's finger is going to be real busy here tonight.
Carpal tunnel.
There you go. I looked at Coach Newcomb prior to the start of tonight's game, and I said, is it going to be the team that blinks first? And he said, that's one way to put it.
Yeah, don't turn around for a second. Don't go to the fridge. Don't go anywhere. You're going to miss something.
Ahmed Basic Has it teed up. He's going to let it rip. And it's going to be an automatic touchback once again.
Man, that ball just explodes off his foot off those kickoffs. I mean, that ball just. I wish my drives looked like that off the tee.
He could definitely kick at the next level.
You know, don't forget, and he's only been kicking. This is the second year. Like, he was just, they stumbled upon him, discovered him, and next thing you know, this kid could be kicking in college, and who knows, maybe making a living out of it.
Not only does he have a powerful leg, it's very accurate. It's not something you come across too often in the high school game, is an accurate and powerful kicker. It's either one or the other.
All right, Brad, now the chess game starts. Let's see the adjustments the Big Reds have made.
Shift in the formation offensively. They move power over to the right-hand side, and they're going to run that
Look
way.
out.
It's Jordan Ramsey gets the edge up to the 45 before he's finally ushered out of bounds. So these opening plays of both drives net some big-time yardage. Ramsey goes for 25 there up to the 45 and gives the Titans a fresh set of downs.
Yeah, the left side of the Big Reds defense, the contain unit there, has not been good so far today. They've given up a couple big runs off that side already. This time Ramsey in motion just goes to that off-tackle power, and they're getting just huge chunks of yards.
Madonna hands off to Kwiatkowski. Up ahead to right around midfield. Pick up a 5 there on first down. Brings up a very manageable second down now for the Titans.
Just power, 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 power. They're just going to beat on you until you just fall.
They're wasting no time. They're getting right up to that line of scrimmage and snapping the football. That's something Coach Merchant told me to pay attention to. He says, if they get up to the line quick and snap the football, they think they can play with us and hang with us. If they're going to take off some time, he goes, well, then maybe they don't know, if they can hang with us. But he goes, if they snap it with plenty of time on the clock, they think they got a chance. Boy, oh boy, tough.
Well, it looked like some holds over there, but no. Someone lost a chin strap or something.
Tough to bring down Ramsey. Just a quick pitch to the left-hand side.
They're just physical, nasty. Just, man, they're just pounding the Big Reds.
Zion Mitchell in on the tackle for the Big Reds. Gives the Titans a first down now in Chippewa Valley territory. Ball marked at the 37. Madonna now in the shotgun, trips to his right. Total spread look here for the Titans. Madonna rolls out to his right. He's going to fire one out there, in and out of the hands of his intended receiver, Kwiatkowski.
They are missing some serious holds out there. There was one, Stevie Wonder saw it on Aaron Mitchell where he came off, and literally you saw that jersey stretch about 2.5 feet. And these referees are going to have to start calling that because I guess there's some reasons why the Titans are gaining such big chunks there, because that was a horrible hold. Like I said, Stevie Wonder jumped off his couch at home.
Madonna only threw the ball twice last week in their victory over Dakota. He was 2 for 2 for 95 yards.
That is a crazy stat. 2 passes.
And both to Kwiatkowski.
That's the old Port Huron offense.
60-yard touchdown pass. This time the handoff goes to Ramsey. He's able to string this out. He stays on his feet. Now you get the flag, Jeff. You asked for it, and you get rewarded with the call.
2 of the Mac Reds' finest on the carry, number 5, Jordan Ramsey.
And there you go, the holding call against Stevenson.
Yeah, lots of holding going on. That's what you got to tell your defenders. Listen, they're holding you. You got to find a way to try to break free so the referees see that. If you just stay engaged, they can't really tell who's holding. You got to try to fight free so they can actually see those grabbing going on, and that can get you some penalties, and that's going to help you. You can get big chunks here, but you're going to help your defense out when you put them in second, third, and longs.
So that'll negate a very long run for Jordan Ramsey.
You saw the replay there. His feet never, ever, ever stop, just like Harris. 2 great backs today in the backfield. And Kwiatkowski's no slouch either.
Kwiatkowski's the type of guy that can also receive the football, obviously. So makes him a dual threat in that backfield. So 2nd down 20 after the holding penalty. Madonna looks over as his visitors bench to get the play call. Goes under center now. Sends a man in motion. That's Troy Davis. And it'll be Davis.
They're just chunking them.
Between the tackles across the 40 down to the 39. So it'll bring up a 3rd and 12.
Yeah, that little off-tackle power, they're really attacking the weak side of the Big Reds defense. You know, trying to play strength to field, and obviously they've seen some things on film that they can attack, and you know the Titans have stayed with their game plan, and just like I said, this is a very patient offense. You're not going to knock them off kilter. They're very confident in what they do, and one little spread look now. Watch for that quarterback run.
Madonna takes a high snap, goes immediately to his right. Zion Mitchell there to make the stop behind the chains. Good pressure that time. Good diagnosis defensively by the Big Reds. And they're able to bottle up Madonna.
Yeah, kind of a slow developing play there. The quarterback really kind of took his time. Where like on an opening drive, he hit that hole and was gone. He was very indecisive there. Mitchell came flying up, grabbed him to slow him down, and then the cleanup crew comes and finishes the job off. You got 4th and 11 here. You're definitely in 2-down territory. There's no way they're kicking a field goal or punting, so they're going for it for sure.
We're going to go for it here on 4th down. Absolutely keeping the offense on the field.
Watch for a little back out of the backfield or maybe even a wheel route to Ramsey.
Madonna's going to sprint for it. Gets wrapped up and brought down. Tackle made by Cameron Frazier. The defense steps up and gets a stop there on 4th down. It'll be a turnover on downs for the Titans.
Well, for sure, Brad, the penalty was big. You know, a lot of good job of Big Reds just bottle him in there and getting him to the ground. You know, Frazier on the tackle, as well as Krasnicki. And the Big Reds are going to take over at their 33-yard line, and we'll see how, again, now how the Stevenson Titans are going to respond, because the Big Reds quick counter punch with 2 quick plays, you know. So the Stevenson defense is over there drawing it up too. So we'll see how the Titans respond.
You mentioned the Titans averaging 36 points per game. This Big Red offensive unit averaging 34. Harris, left side, cuts back, up the middle. Legs churning, picks up 14 yards. Another terrific run by Harris III.
Nice blocking too by the line, as you can see here. I'm cutting the hole, but man, he's just like a piece of it. Look at these guys just trying to drag him. 17 just went for the ride there. You know, enjoy your ride day at Cedar Point. But man, he's just like a piece of iron. He just can't stop him.
Schuster in the shotgun. Play action fake. Able to complete it out to Kalen Shaw. Shaw, the touchdown reception on the previous Chippewa Valley drive.
I like that. They went deep on to take away Altamirano. And Shaw again wide open on the short little out route. And again, taking what the defense gives you, 7 yards on 1st down. Throws them forward, kind of helps us out a little bit there as well. So Big Red offense right now really coming a nice job doing a lot of different things. Really kind of keep this Titan defense on his toes and backpedaling a little bit.
Lucas Timbuck making the tackle for the Titans. 4 wide receivers set. Play action fake once again. Schuster double clutch and threw that one out of bounds.
Yeah, good job there throwing the ball away. He had nothing. Made sure he threw it an intended receiver, because the rules in high school are much different than college or the pros. So good job there, and you still got a 3rd and 3, which is very manageable.
So Schuster comes into play tonight with a 57% completion percentage, averaging nearly 16.5 yards per toss, 7 touchdowns to go along with 3 interceptions. Schuster looks over at the bench, gets some last-second instructions from his head coach, Scott Merchant. Going to move Cephas Harris over to his left pocket now. Schuster takes the snap, fakes once again, and in and through the hands there of Krasnicki.
Well, he was wide open and just threw it right through his hands, and that'd have been a nice 1st down conversion. Now the Big Red's got some thinking to do. Could see the Schuster punt here. It's kind of been a trademark over the last few years with Ryan and older brother Tommy.
So Schuster threw the fastball, and Krasnicki perhaps was looking for a little bit of a off-speed pitch there and went right through the hands of the 5'10", 185-pound junior.
May just try to drag someone across the middle too. They're going 5 wide here.
And spread look, Titans showing blitz, and a false start penalty.
Only called false start, yeah. Maybe that near side, that far side receiver maybe?
Left a little early.
This one made the decision a lot easier.
Yep, punt unit will come out onto the field. Talking about Schuster. Stevenson's head coach, Justin Newcomb. So they played a terrific quarterback in their opening week game against Rockford. But he said he mainly beat them with his legs. He said Schuster's the real deal. He's the total package. He can only run, but he can pass. And he says he's probably the best quarterback we've played this season. Fair catch called for and made.
Yeah, Ramsey back there, nice job catching that ball. Boy, if you've never done it, it's really hard to even kind of fathom how hard it is to catch a punt. When you can't see it, you can hear everyone coming at you, but you have no idea where everyone's at as you try to focus on catching that ball. It's got to be one of the most nerve-wracking things in football. Well, Brett, you know, both offenses came out, hit right away. Both defenses have answered back, and, you know, now what?
Maybe Coach Merchant's predictions coming true. Maybe we will have that low-scoring slugfest with teams trading punts here tonight. It'd be hard to believe, considering the lowest amount of points Stevenson scored this season's 30, and that was in their 44-30 loss to Rockford. As this one's going nowhere.
Oh, the big fella over there. Look out, Anthony Wright.
Madonna gets dragged down from behind. We'll take another look at it. Nope, check that. It's Ramsey. Ramsey did take the handoff.
To give you an idea how quick that big fella can move. I mean, that is no slouch. He just ran down and took to the ground.
Play will bring up second down. Ball rested the 12-yard line of the Titans.
So bring up a second down in 16, and Titan offense for the first time here tonight is off schedule. They were able to pick up some big yards on their very first play of both series. So now operating behind the markers. Handoff once again, immediately met at the line of scrimmage and going backwards. This defensive line beginning to dig in. Kwiatkowski there going for nothing.
Yeah, nice job there, just being stout up the middle. Now it brings up another 3rd and long. You know, the Titans' last 2 drives have really put themselves in some tough situations right off the bat on the hold, and then the big loss of downs there. And you know, they're, like I said, they're not an aired-out team, only throwing it two plays. You know, they live off that play action. And, you know, right now with the passing down, just try to keep everybody in front of you and don't let them get anywhere near the marker. See the Big Red secondary, they back off quite a bit here, about a good 7-8 yards.
Yeah, the safeties are camped out at the 25, so roughly 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. And
nice.
This play is bottled up, nowhere to go.
And he still didn't go down. That's how strong Kwiatkowski is. He had half the defense on him. They did not take him to the ground.
Big Red faithful asking to make some noise as they realize how big of a stop that was.
Yeah, Coach Wilson and Coach Priest have made some nice adjustments here after that first opening drive, and you know, see if the Big Red offense here can get in the lead. They're going to get some great field position.
First 3 and out, and this kick will take a bounce at the 37. Takes a little bit of a Titan bounce before rolling down to the 43. So plus territory now for the Big Reds to operate as they will take over on the Stevenson 43-yard line.
Yeah, Zach Ernak calling everybody away there, the poison call, and the Big Reds get great field position on the opening drive. And this is something Coach Denreiter likes to do, Brad. He likes to go up top, especially on a change of possession where the Big Reds take over in great field position. He likes to try to maybe go hit a home run. If you look down at the bottom of your screen, Altamirano has one-on-one coverage there. There's nothing over the top to help him. You might see him go here to Maddox.
Altamirano, number 11 in red. Schuster takes the snap. Instead, will flip one out into the flats for Shamar Hurd. Up close to a first down.
Nice little bubble screen again. When he turns things upfield, it's a lot faster than the normal human being.
Yeah, Shamar Hurd, we know he's a good return guy as well on the special teams for the Big Reds. As you can see, that big jet burst after catching that football. Picks up 9, brings up a 2nd down and 1, and this really opens up the playbook now, doesn't it?
He almost ran off the screen. The cameraman had a hard time keeping up with him there. He's so fast.
So once again, that spread look. 3 wide receivers to Schuster's right. Cephas Harris in the backfield. He's going to go out to the right-hand side. Instead, they're going to pick on Hurd once again. Inside the 25, down to the 23. So back-to-back plays to Hurd.
Yeah, Stevenson dropped back into a zone there. Shamar did a nice job of just getting to the middle there and finding a spot and sat down. Schuster did a nice, his arm is so strong. It's insane. You can watch him come out of half, and he's playing catch with his brother, and they just stand and throw the ball 40 yards on a rope to each other. It is one of the most impressive things I've ever seen.
And he threw that ball on a back pedal as well. So he was getting all kinds of pressure. Harris this time is going to explore the right-hand side, gets in to the Titans secondary. Madonna, the quarterback, finally brings him down. Harris starting to feel it now.
Yeah, nice job there by Cephas to just string it out, being patient. He saw that little bit of daylight, and then he kicked the Jets up a little bit and turned what could have been maybe a no gain or a loss into a 9-yard gain.
Hurdles that first tackler and then finally brought down by Madonna.
He is an absolute tank. You know, he kind of reminds me of a few years back, the state champ, Andre Chenot.
Yep.
You know, kind of that bowling ball runner. Just obviously he's a little quicker, but they have 2 very similar running styles.
There's Nicky checking into this game. They went to him on a 2nd down and short on the previous drive. He split off to Schuster's left. Now he'll go in motion. He'll provide the lead block for Harris.
Yeah,
modest gain there.
Yeah, a little trap play there. Chris Nicky went in motion and kind of pulled backside and trap. They trap with the H back there, and that middle of that Stevenson defense is big. And there was not a whole lot going in there. Matter of fact, he got nothing. So
under 20 seconds now remaining in the first quarter of play. We'll see if the Big Reds even elect to snap this football.
I'd like to see maybe, the way they're set up there, that everyone in the middle, is maybe trying to throw a little to the back pylon there and let Ernak go up on a much smaller defender, using that 6'3" frame.
And they will, in fact, take it into the quarter break, trailing 8-7. Well, so far so good. Everything you could have hoped for on a Friday night under the lights here in Chippewa Valley High School. Sterling Heights Stevenson Titans out in front, 8-7 over the Big Reds. Big Reds, though, knocking on the door. We'll have the ball 1st and 10 from the 12-yard line. So Stevenson, opening drive of the game, drove right down the field, went for 2, got it, took an 8-0 lead. Big Reds answered back, a 44-yard touchdown pass from Schuster to Kalen Shaw. The extra point was good. The Big Reds trailed at that point 8-7. And then the defense for the Big Reds stepped up big, came up with a turnover on downs and a punt. And the Big Reds now, their 3rd possession of the game, starting out in plus territory. They started out on the Stevenson 43. They've got it all the way down to the 12-yard line, where they will put the ball in play 1st and 10 to start the second quarter.
Yeah, and the difference of the first quarter has been a 2-point conversion. When you're that big and you don't have a very good kicker and you have that big of an offensive line, you're 3 yards out. They pretty much accepted, the last couple of drives, they were hitting 3 yards of crack easy, so I could see the confidence to go for here. But the Big Red offense, Brad, seems to be heating it up a little bit.
Harris once again inside the 5, twists and turns down near the first down marker.
God, I would love to see a replay of that. I don't know how he got through. I thought he was going to be down at the 10. And then the next thing you know, he's squirting down to the 2-yard line.
Leading the charge for the
He
offense,
is so
number
strong.
77.
I mean, just an
Matthew
absolute
Drazis.
stud. I mean, you can see.
Lowers that body.
Never stop your feet, running backs. Never stop your feet. I mean, every coach will tell you that. You're in a position here, too, where you can throw this up to earn at. Well, he does have Kwiatkowski on him now, so they've done a little switch there.
Alta Moreno on the right side this time at the very top of your screens. And Harris once again met at the line of scrimmage. Good penetration along that defensive line. And it's probably good enough for a first down, however.
It does move the chains. Crosstown, first quarter, after one, Dakota 14, Grosse Pointe South nothing. So after last week's loss to the Titans, the Cougars have wasted no time getting out on Grosse Pointe South.
A little bit of a struggle this season thus far for Grosse Pointe South. 3-2 overall, 1-2 in MAC Red play. So that Harris run was good enough for a first down, so it'll be first and goal to go from the 2-yard line.
Here comes the goal line offense for the Big Reds, the T formation.
It's
Got
Harris.
the end.
Nope, it's Zion Mitchell. Mitchell took the carry. No indication from the referees yet.
No, they're marking him down at like the
On the carry for the
7-8
red
line.
Number
Somebody's
2,
down there.
Zion Mitchell.
It's an offensive lineman there for the Big Reds as he pounds his hand into the field turf.
Yeah, sometimes in those piles, that's Matthew Dreshy.
Dreshy, they're asking him to come off the field, and
He's trying. He's in a lot of pain. When you get in those piles, sometimes you just get that ankle pushed into your foot, and you get rolled up on. It can happen so easily. Hopefully, he's okay.
and he'll immediately go over to the trainer's table.
What do you think, Brad, right here? Quarterback sneak. I mean, you got 6'2", 200 pounds. He's closer to the end zone than anybody. I mean, that ball, there can't be but a hair between the ball and the end zone there. I mean, look how close this thing is. The entire team is in the A gap.
And just push him over the line, right?
He's in.
Touchdown indicated by the line judge.
And it is a touchdown.
Zion Mitchell on that straight dive. Nothing fancy there. That's going to punch you right in the mouth and just keep his feet turning. And I mean, broke the plane in the first contact and just didn't hear any whistles. Big Reds might go for 2 here to go up 7. Or kick it. What the heck do I know?
Yeah. Ahmed Basic, pretty much automatic.
Yeah, he could probably close his eyes and kick from this range, and he's been that good.
Yeah, I think no sense in chasing points yet, right?
Yeah, you're early on in the game. I mean, your offense is on a roll right now. I mean, you know, you got stopped on the 1 drive. You scored on 2 out of 3 drives. You really got the Stevenson on defense scrambling a little bit. Your defense has been playing great the last 3 Stevenson possessions. I mean, you can't, you know, don't get crazy yet. There's a lot of football to go. And we're barely 2 minutes into this quarter, 2.5. With 22 points combined.
So the Big Reds take advantage of that good field position. We mentioned it. Titans pinned down deep in their own end, punted the ball away. As the Big Reds take over at the 43-yard line and go in the 1-yard score. Zion Mitchell keeping it on the ground.
Did they turn the lights off us on here or what? Do they not want us here or what?
Maybe somebody didn't pay the bill up here in the press box.
Yeah.
We'll work on getting the lights turned on so you can see.
I mean, people have told me I'm in the dark, but this is a little ridiculous. Oh, gosh almighty. Well, it's kind of a formality of the 2 deep guys standing in the back there at the 5-yard line because this ball is going to sail over their head and go about 7 yards into the end zone. So, but we got to go through the formality. So.
More importantly, we have light now.
We have light, yes. Let there be light.
Found the light switch.
Wonderful. Yeah,
It's amazing what technology, how far we've come along, huh?
That's right. Those light switches. Gosh, you gotta love all that technology that's out there.
Thank God for
Oh,
Thomas
checks up.
Edison. Fielded at the 2. Look out.
They got him hemmed in. He ain't going anywhere.
Terrific tackle by Leslie Arnold.
On the receiving end for the Titans.
I'll tell you what, here, the one thing I've really noticed this year with the Big Reds and years past on special teams is how good they all are at open field tackling. They are so much better than I've seen in years past, just open field tackles. This is not an easy play. They get nothing out of this return, maybe 10 yards. But look at the pursuit and just look at all the open field tackling. I mean, that's very, very good.
Three facets to every game: offense, defense, and special teams. We often forget about special teams, and
I always hated this when Anchor Bay used to do that. I always felt it was kind of a waste of time, but because so many teams just scout the heck out of you, especially at this time of the season. But hey, you know, it's your thing.
Donna, hands off.
Oh, the big man in the middle. That's Kendrick Denson. Jalen, he ain't moving that big guy out of the way. But him and Wright in there, boy, oh boy. They especially since that first drive, they have just been stoppers in that middle.
Number 78.
This defensive line got exposed on their very first Titan drive. Thanks in large part to that long Biagio Madonna run on first down. But since then, have really pinned their ears back and have played much better. They're playing angry now.
Tackle there, power.
Jordan Ramsey, look out into open space. So difficult to bring down this three-headed monster in this Titan backfield.
Yeah, you give him a little bit of daylight, he can just squirt through and he's gone.
On the tackle, number 4,
he is so big and strong, but it's just so quick.
Witkowski and Ramsey both going to Central Michigan next season. They both committed on the same day. Neither guy knew they did it, but it was about a 30-minute difference between them committing.
That's when you know you're true teammates. It was meant to be,
Yeah,
right?
premonition, right? Kind of like how they say twins often feel the same thing. Well, teammates felt it that day. Compared the atmosphere at Central Michigan to a family and are all in, fire up chips.
You know, we mentioned how the defense has played so much better. I'm sure after that first drive, they probably got their manhood questioned a little bit, and that might have fired them.
Number 6,
You know,
Cameron Frazier.
There aren't much people that can motivate much better than Coach Wilson, and I'm sure they got a talking to after that first drive and how easy it was, because there's just a different level of play right now, and you know, just attentiveness on this defense than there was that opening drive.
Two receivers over to Madonna's right. He's going to fake it and hand now to Ramsey, looking for the left-hand side. Nothing there. Good pursuit along the boundary by the Big Reds.
Yeah, nice job of finishing him off there, Cameron Frazier. But boy, yeah, they hemmed him in on that sideline and got nothing. Another third and long. Titans have struggled on third and long tonight.
A little bit at a disadvantage perhaps for an offense that doesn't throw the football a lot when you get yourself into these obvious passing situations. Madonna is capable of throwing. I mean, he was a guy that averaged nearly 25 passes per game a year ago, and this Titan offense totally revamped, and Madonna faked the throw, stays on his feet, still on his feet, and he's going to get near the first down marker. It's all going to depend on the spot. Wow, what an effort there by Madonna.
The two officials aren't even close on the spots.
Nope, the line judge nearest to us is indicating a yard short, and then the far side judge said good enough. Wow.
That's why it's so important to not let him get outside that containment there, because he is so big and strong and so hard to take down. He just goes forward. Very few guys are going to push this kid backwards. You're better off sitting back there and making him throw it.
Well, and they can't afford to keep trying to tackle him high. They got to go after his legs. And time Mitchell finally was able to bring him down, but it's good enough for a first down. Hand off Kwiatkowski again. And once again, he picks up a big chunk of yards on first down. 9 yards on the carry. Get another look at it here, left side.
They just do a great job of just sealing that off tackle, and it's just downhill. And you know, Kwiatkowski gets going, and he's just a load to bring down. And then, You know, then you worry about stopping him, and then you got Ramsey, and then you worry about stopping him, and you got Madonna, and then you worry about stopping him, and they bring some other guy in the play. I mean, they just run so many backs at you, and you can do that when you have that kind of quality offensive line. Gonna unbalance now a little bit.
Olszewski in motion. And it'll be Ramsey once again, straight ahead, blast through that linebacking core. It'll be Mitchell once again to bring him down.
Yeah, Stevenson's starting to get back and grinding a little bit now. They converted that big 3rd and 7, and it kind of seemed to be starting to hit their stride now a little bit offensively too.
Titans starting to find their groove once again. Well, you knew the Stevenson team wasn't going to go away. They were going to give the Big Reds everything. We talked about it at the very top of tonight's broadcast. The Titans in the driver's seat in the MAC Red, trying to restore their glory of those Rick Bye days.
Oh, just strong running.
Titan crowd making some noise. Patowski again.
Well, they're excited. You said something before the broadcast, Brad. You know, it's been a while since they've been kind of back into prominence now, and they've been starting to kind of get it going. And, you know, right now the fans over there at Stevenson High School are excited. This team has got a lot of potential, making a big run last year. And, you know, they think they got the team this year to kind of get down to Detroit. So, you know, they're very, very excited about this team. Got a face mask.
Yep, personal foul, 15-yard variety face mask. And talk about one heck of a job that Justin Newcomb has done now in his 4th year at Stevenson. He comes into play tonight with an overall record of 23-13. Spent a year over at Cousino as a head coach there. They went 4-5 in his first year, and since then have gone 19-8, including 6 playoff victories and a trip to the state semifinals. That was back in 2019 before they lost to eventual state champion Davison. And if you remember correctly, that state semifinal game was a heck of a ball game as well, as Davison won 34-27, and the Titans were up throughout most of that game before falling to Davison. So the Titans.
Yeah, I mean, for so many years, Rick Bye was a staple at Stevenson.
35 years.
You know, the guys who had to follow in his footsteps, it was tough. And, you know, you're trying to kind of keep going what he did, but, you know, Rick, it was what he was so original. And what Coach Newcomb has done is kind of brought his own culture into the program, and it's really worked, and these kids have bought in. And you get the kids to buy in, man, anything can happen. You can see right now, you know, you got that big, huge offensive line. They know their identity. They don't get away from it. They don't panic. Even down 14-8, when Chippewa started, it looked like they were starting to pick their stride up. They just kind of reset themselves and got back to what they do well, and now they're marching the ball, looking to try to take the lead here in the second quarter. It's good coaching.
Coach Newcomb, one of the youngest coaches in Macomb as well, only 35 years of age, so he can really build a legacy perhaps at Sterling Heights Stevenson. Direct snap this time to Kwiatkowski, driven down hard.
He is such a load. Central Michigan's going to love that one, as well as Jalen Ramsey, but yeah, they got a couple good ones. Plus, you got a few kids from Dakota over there, and they've Central Michigan has really kind of plugged the MAC pretty well the last few years.
Kwiatkowski once again on the direct snap. Too easy. His second touchdown of the game. Ties the ball game up at 14 apiece.
Yeah, nice run. Just downhill. Smash mouth, gonna punch in the face, and unlike that first drive when the Titans scored, we're gonna see an extra point.
So 88 yards on the touchdown drive, punctuated by the 3-yard TD run by Jordan Kwiatkowski. And we're gonna get a timeout called by the Titans. They're gonna talk this one over before trying.
I don't know if there's a personnel thing or they're going to decide to go for 2 again, but yeah, they very rarely you see a timeout called on a PAT, unless it's a personnel issue or someone was in there that had too many guys or it was going to result in a penalty.
Well, maybe they feel they're playing with house money here, tied with 3:01 left to go in the first half, and you just go for 2.
Well, I mean, you know, there's still a lot of time to go. The Big Reds can come down and put another one up on the board here. They're going to get the ball to start the second half. So I think if you're Stevenson, taking the lead right now is especially knowing that, Chippewa is going to get the ball here with lots of time to go in the half, as well as get the ball to start the second half. But, be interested to see. The Big Reds are coming out with their defense, so maybe Stevenson's going for 2.
Sure looks that way. Biagio Madonna,
Yep,
senior quarterback, out on the field.
Kwiatkowski in the backfield. Ramsey's not on the field, though.
LeDuc in the backfield as well. He is
Straight
to
Wildcat.
catch it. And straight Wildcat. Kwiatkowski adds his second 2-point conversion.
That
And
is
it now
just
the Titans 16-14.
Yeah, that is just, we're going to punch you in the face, and you're going to like it. That's kind of what that is. That's just physical football.
Well, 3 seconds ticked off the clock. That should have been an untimed
Yeah.
point after touchdown. I don't know what the play clock operator's thinking there. See if that maybe comes back to bite the Big Reds, or if the officials are able to spot that. But 3 seconds came off that clock.
Yeah, I wonder if anyone cut. No referee has signaled up to the. But they did tick 3 seconds off the clock.
And every second important here for the Big Reds as we head into the halftime break.
It's much for our hometown clock operator.
Now it's been a little bit of a one-sided victory. You mentioned this was a little bit of a dogfight last year. Big Reds won it 42-27. It's been 7 straight victories now for the Big Reds over the Titans. Their last loss was in 2014 in the regular season. Titans do hold the edge in the overall series, however, 23-16.
If I remember correctly, too, I think Ramsey got hurt in that game and didn't finish it, and that's where the Big Reds were able to pull away. But they came out and just threw the ball all over the place.
As we mentioned, this was a Titan team that was not afraid to throw the football. Madonna, a very capable quarterback and a very good one, getting some looks from some of the Ivy League schools, as well as Adrian and Alma, the likes of those in-state schools. And he's a legacy at Stevenson. Older brother played for the Titans, as well as his father, Carmine Madonna, who's one of the assistant coaches. He's a defensive coordinator, in fact, and Carmine Madonna played for Rick By in the late 1990s. So the Madonna family goes way back.
Must be tough in practice watching your son carve your defense up.
He knows what's coming at least,
Right. Right, I'm going to give you all the secrets.
Schuster.
The cutback.
Harris up near the 24.
Chippewa not in a rush. This offense, 3 minutes is a lot of time with the way this team can put the ball down the field. So,
Yeah, all these playmakers on offense. They can beat you in multiple ways.
and you give Harris an ounce of daylight, and we've already seen what you can do. He can do with that. So, just like Ramsey, he can kill you. So,
Kind of a bunch look this time. Harris once again going to explore the right side. Picks up a handful of yards. Not enough for the first down, so bring up a 3rd and short. Clock continues to tick down. 2:10 left to go in the first half of play.
yeah, 2 4-yard runs. I like the patience right now. There's still not nowhere near enough time to start trying to put us in a rush mode. So, Big Red staying with their game plan.
Harris averaging 11.5 yards per carry. Coming into tonight's game with 11 touchdowns on the ground as well. 186 yards rushing per game. Just unbelievable. Video game type numbers
So,
for Trey Harris. Approaching a minute and a half now left to go in the first half. Harris makes himself small and
nothing.
still gets gobbled up by that D-line. Jordan Kwiatkowski in there as well on the stop from his linebacker position, and that's not exactly how the Big Reds drew this up. Coach Newcomb electing not to take a timeout here defensively. A little surprised at that.
Maybe a little bit, especially with the time you got left. I mean, you can still have a chance to put one on the board here. I think Coach Mertz is going to let this run down and call timeout here. Especially if you don't get it, it's going to put yourself in a bind, even if you get the ball to start the second half. So there's a lot of thought to go on here. You don't see Ernad on the field or anything like that, so I don't know what they're going to do here.
As you mentioned, the Big Reds will have the opening possession of the second half. The Titans won the toss and elected to receive the opening kick. So there comes a timeout now for the Big Reds, trailing 16-14, 35 ticks left up on the big board, and it appears that Sterling Heights Stevenson is just going to be happy to take a 2-point lead into the halftime break.
Well, especially with the explosive as this Big Red offense is, you burn a timeout to get a first down. I mean, I don't know what they're thinking. If he had 2 timeouts left, I mean, I think they're going to punt it. That's what it looks like right here. Ahmed Basic is back to punt.
Ahmed Basic, 6'2", 180-pound kicker. Heels planted on the 12-yard line. Snap is good. Ahmed Basic puts his right foot into it.
A bit of a shank.
And it's going to bounce shy of the 50 and take a Big Red bounce. And it'll finally be downed at the Titan 48.
Well, I mean, you might see them try to run one play, but maybe just, run the ball, run the clock out, and take the lead at the half and go from there. But it's been a pretty even first half. The difference in the game, 2 2-point conversions. It's been pretty even, pretty straight up. Both teams kind of flexing their muscles a little bit.
Two punts for the Big Reds. A punt and a turnover on downs for the Titans. Both teams with the 2 touchdowns. As you mentioned, the difference right now, the 2 2-point conversions for Stevenson. Madonna takes a shotgun snap, gonna keep it. Picks up 8 yards on first down, and now the Titans will call timeout.
Timeout, Titans.
And see, and this is why I don't understand why they didn't take the timeout after making the 3rd down stop.
Yeah, unless he tries to think he could run a couple plays, get close, and heave one in the end zone. I don't know. I can tell you this, they're not going to bring their kicker out from 40 yards, that's for sure. They haven't kicked an extra point yet.
No, they don't have Justin Tucker on those sidelines, do they?
No. God, no.
17.8 left to go. It is homecoming, so we'll have all kinds of festivities at halftime.
Yeah, lots of alumni here today. I was fortunate to be one of them. Was never played on turf, though. It was a grass field when I was here, and these bleachers were yet to be built. The home side was on the other side of the field, but by my junior year, the stadium started to begin construction, so that's how long that's been around.
Terrific crowd here tonight on a picture-perfect fall evening. It doesn't feel like October 1st, does it?
No, this weather's been very, very crazy. Michigan is staying nonetheless, so. Look at them drive guys off the ball.
And it's Ramsey that takes the direct snap.
Uh-oh.
He's still on his feet. He's changing
blocking.
direction. He's got some blockers. Look out. Ramsey off to the races, and he's going to score a touchdown. Oh, my. Ramsey changes direction and had a whole wall of blockers. And that's a backbreaker there for the Big Reds defensively, as we'll get another look at it here. And Zion Mitchell went high to make that tackle, and Ramsey evaded it and was gone. An unbelievable touchdown run.
And they're going to go for 2 again and come right at you and try to go up 10 points. Oh, looks like they stopped them.
I don't think he got it. Nope, they're going to say no good. So the lead will remain 8. I think they ran some time off the clock once again. Clock operator needs to understand his main role.
And nobody's caught it. That's what I don't understand. Nobody's caught it.
Our clock shows 4 seconds. Oh, now they're gonna actually put some time up on the board. Okay, that time they got it, Jeff.
Yeah, if you want to be technical, there should be about 7, right?
Right.
We're going 40 seconds, 2 minutes. 42 seconds. Going to tick it down from 42 seconds.
So our clock, our graphic is good. It is 4 seconds. We're just waiting for the official clock here on field level to catch up to our clock. Nice job, our live truck tonight. Under the direction of Jim Calderon. He's calling the shots in the live truck tonight, Jeff.
You know, a lot of young kids don't understand that there was actually a phone number you could call back in the day to get the time. Maybe they called that phone number to figure out what the exact time was. But like I said, we're right on top of it.
I used to also call the number to get sports scores. Remember that?
Yeah. Now we're at 4.2. Okay.
Before smartphones. There was a time before smartphones, believe it or not.
There was.
My teachers used to tell me, just remember, Mr. Fetters, you won't have a calculator in your pocket. Well, the joke was on them, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
you got something a lot better than a calculator in your pocket.
So 4.3 seconds left. Really impressed by the Titans here tonight. They have come in enemy territory and haven't blinked. They're going to kick it away deep. Cephas Harris, he's dangerous with the ball in his hands. He fields it at the 15, up to the 30, and he's going to be bottled up there, and the buzzer sounds to indicate the final play of the first half, and it is the Titans that have come in and taken a 22-14 lead. Jeff, your thoughts on what was an exciting first half of play?
Yeah, you know, the Big Reds came back to the league. Stevenson never let go from their game plan. That little defensive botch right before the half. I'm sure Coach Wilson's not going to be happy about that. We talked about at halftime, but the Big Reds got some work to do. They got to come out here in the second half and tie this game up, and we'll see what kind of halftime adjustments are made as we get ready for our homecoming festivities.
You and I will take a quick break. We'll leave it here for the halftime festivities. Hope you enjoy it. And when we come back, it'll be the start of the third quarter of play. The Big Reds will have the opening possession of the second half. Don't go anywhere. Right here on Chippewa Valley Cable.
How about a nice warm welcome for Anissa and Nat?
Congratulations to the junior class for winning a very close competition in this year's Homecoming Spirit Week. Now presenting your 2021 Homecoming Court in no particular order. Christopher Frontiero. Christopher's favorite memory while at Chippewa was the 2019 Homecoming Spirit Week assembly in a previous world where COVID didn't exist, and everyone had fun and was entertained by the Homecoming Court class of 2020, two of which whose siblings sit on the court this year. Watching everyone play games and dance in the gym makes him hope that next year everyone will have the opportunity to experience the assembly. Elamana Campara. Elamana's favorite memory at Chippewa was sophomore year going to the homecoming game, then after staying up late to set up all the homecoming decorations in the school. Doing it with her friends just made it all the more memorable. Jackson Nowicki. Jackson plans after high school are to attend Grand Valley State University and major in business. Jacqueline Jarvie. Jacqueline's plan is going to a 4-year university to pursue her degree in education, minoring in science and majoring in mathematics. She will further her career and become a high school algebra or statistics math teacher. She also plans on becoming a varsity volleyball or lacrosse coach for the school she plans at teaching at. Zachary Wheeler. Zachary plans after high school are to swim in college at either American University or Grand Valley State University and major in something in the liberal arts realm like psychology, political science, or marketing. Mallory Cardinale. Mallory is planning to attend a university to pursue a career as a pediatric nurse oncologist. Eric Lucia. Eric's favorite memory is winning districts at MAC Red sophomore year for varsity soccer. Frankie Mudd. Frankie will be attending Western Michigan University, where she will also continue her athletic career playing D1 soccer. She plans to major biology and later go to PA school to become a physician's assistant. Griffin Block. Griffin's favorite memory at Chippewa was when his football team went down and played at Wayne State and defeated Detroit Catholic Central 45-20. Hannah Salenbier. Hannah's favorite memory while at Chippewa was getting to cheer for the 2018 undefeated football team all the way to the championship. Deshaun Goodwin. If Deshaun is not playing sports, he is going to pursue a career in politics in a major branch of government. Madison Wilcox. Madison is planning on double majoring in computer engineering and music because she hasn't been able to decide on what she wants to do, and those are her two passions. Maddox Altamirano. Maddox's plans is to study business and hopefully play football at a university of his choice. He is currently undecided. Olivia Kolka. Olivia would like to attend Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah and play volleyball. If Olivia doesn't get into volleyball, she would like to go into cosmetology school at Brigham Young University in Hawaii. Lena Haas. Lena's favorite high school memory was all the late nights at her sports games with team members or events with student government members. The best memories she made in high school were the ones where she was working together with her best friends and having so much fun doing it. And your 2021 homecoming king is Deshaun Goodwin. Your 2021 homecoming queen is Madison Wilcox. Thank you and congratulations to the entire 2021 homecoming club.
Fans, please join me in welcoming the 2021 dance team donning the red and black. Make some noise for the Chipettes. They are coached by the head coach, Miss Diana Boganorth.
We need to hear you. We can't hear you. Thank you. Great job, ladies. Now entering the field, ladies and gentlemen, students, we proudly present your Chippewa Valley High School Big Reds Marching Band. This evening, the Big Reds will be performing their 2021 field show entitled The Music of Danny Elfman. The show features musical selections from the movies Elfman composed, including Nightmare Before Christmas, Beetlejuice, 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 Spider-Man, and Tales from the Crypt. Majors, Harrison Lagassa, Jocelyn Blanks, and Seth Cooper. Is your band ready? Ladies and gentlemen, the Big Reds Marching Band. Ladies and gentlemen, your Big Reds Marching Band.
Welcome back to Homecoming 2021 here at the Valley. Chippewa Valley trailing the Stevenson Titans 22-14. Jeff, it was one heck of a first half of play, and the Titans able to come up with a big touchdown right before the halftime bell.
Yeah, a little over pursuit by the defense has opened this game up. What would have been a 2-point game at the half is now 8, as Stevenson took advantage of a little over pursue, and Jalen Ramsey cut back all the way across the field and scored. And right now the Big Reds have got to find a way to slow down this offense, which it seems to have found itself.
This Titan offense as good as advertised. Jordan Kwiatkowski, 2 touchdown runs, and then it was Jordan Ramsey with the scamper right before halftime. Chippewa Valley has a 44-yard touchdown reception hauled in by Kalen Shaw off the right hand of Ryan Schuster. And Zion Mitchell added a 1-yard TD plunge. That's the scoring for Chippewa Valley as we're nearly set to go. The Big Reds will have the opening possession of the second half of play, trying to get themselves back in this football game. The difference, we touched on it throughout the first half, the 2-point conversions. The Titans kind of rolling the dice on those point-after touchdowns, and they've gotten 2 out of their 3 2-point conversion attempts.
Well, Brad, I told you at the half I got a little trivia for you. So 31 years ago, my football team beat Stevenson on homecoming, who at the time was the Macomb County Team of the Year, 7-6. It was a great day. Of course, the field was grass, like we said earlier, but that happened to be Bob Schroeder's first year, and his offensive coordinator that year, Mike Carr.
Really? No kidding.
Came over from Cosno, and the following year they made the state playoffs, 8-1 record. Were ranked in the state for the first time in a long time. And that year we had finished 5-4, which was the first winning season at Chippewa Valley in 15 years back then. So it wasn't always sunshine and daisies, Brad.
Well, getting back, becoming that perennial power in the state of Michigan are the Big Reds. State champions a few seasons ago, and the Titans looking to recapture their magic as well. As this kickoff will be, nope, it's going to sail over the goal line.
I like the ambition of Cephas Harris trying to toe that goal line as best he could and try to jump up and nab that, but didn't quite work.
That's a playmaker that just wants to make a play, right?
Oh, he wants the football. There's no doubt about it.
Well, he's going to get plenty of opportunities in the second half, as he really hasn't quite busted one yet. He's had some big, long runs, but he just hasn't had that huge scamper that we've grown accustomed to seeing out of him.
Now we get to see all the halftime adjustments both teams have made and see how this finishes out.
Harris has been kept off the score sheet, yet to factor in the scoring here. Schuster drops back, 3-step drop, quick little toss over to Altamirano. Far side boundary.
Yeah, nice little comeback there by Maddox. Deep pitch and taking what the defense gives you. Nice job of just coming out, getting Schuster some completions to start the half. Maybe they're going to try to isolate. Maybe they found a matchup, because if you look, Ramsey, there's really no safety help over there.
Lucas Timbuck finally pushing Altamirano out of bounds. Schuster directing Harris. Flip-flops his coverage, his protection. Schuster flushed out of the pocket, and he's going to be sacked. First real pressure the Titans have brought tonight, and they get him.
Yeah, that was a
Jason
coverage
Stewart
sack,
was in
I think.
there.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a coverage sack. Nice coverage downfield. Schuster had nowhere to go, and they did a nice job of not letting Schuster roll out. They just kept him in that pocket and just converged on him.
5-yard loss on the quarterback sack brings up second down 15. Stevenson 4-1, 3-0 in the MAC Red. Chippewa Valley 4-1, 2-1 in the MAC Red. Both teams coming off impressive victories within league play. He sends Shamar Hurd in motion. Schuster drops back. It's a screen pass to Cephas Harris. He's going to be just short of the first down marker. Good play call there on second down and long.
Nice job by Schuster to stand in there, too. He was going to get popped. Just delivered a nice ball. What a nice one-handed grab by Cephas here. Watch this. Look at this catch. Put it on Sports Center, and then there he goes, and now you get up to a manageable conversion for third down after a second 15.
Big Red's going to spread things out. 4 wide receivers set. 2 wide outs to the left, 2 up top. Schuster going to hand off this time. Just enough for the first down. It'll move the chains.
Harris on the first down run. Ball will be spotted at the 42-yard line of the red and white.
Little scrimmage from the 42.
You know, one thing I like to see as this game goes on, you know, a lot of Titans specialty players go both ways.
Well, a lot of their offensive
Quarterback,
players go
yeah.
both ways as
Yeah,
well.
Quarterback, so, I mean, you know, Big Red's not as much, and you see how that factors into the fourth quarter.
It's not too often that you see a high school quarterback playing as many snaps as Biagio Madonna plays for the Titans at that linebacker position. Altamirano just short of the sticks. Madonna is more of a kind of a hybrid. He kind of floats back into the safety position periodically. He's listed as a linebacker, but he's kind of a do-everything player. He's factored in on the score sheet. He's made a couple tackles already. He actually had a pick 6 last week as well for Stevenson. So Madonna's a do-everything guy.
Yeah, he's a heck of an athlete, for sure. You know, with the way the Big Reds line up with a lot of 4 wide receiver sets, that he almost becomes like a hybrid position, like that safety / linebacker spot.
Big win over Dakota last week. Fell behind early, the Titans did, 7-0, and then really never looked back. Cougars never really threatened in that 31-16 victory for Stevenson. Cephas Harris churns those legs.
He's
I don't know if
close.
he got it.
Well, the far side official's marking it. We'll see.
Yep, you're right.
They're
He
kind of
needed to
moving
get-
in a little bit.
Needed to gain the 48, and they're going to spot it now right at the 48. Good enough for a first down.
Gotta be.
Harris on the carry.
Near side judge is saying first down, move those chains.
First down indicated by the
And head referee now finally sticks out his right arm.
That's why he gets the big bucks.
That's why he gets to wear the fancy white hat, too.
That's right.
So the Big Reds now from the Titan 48. Trips to Schuster's left. Soft coverage on the outside. They fake the handoff to Harris. Good protection. Schuster drops back. Floats one out to Altamirano. Double coverage. Good coverage out there by the Titans. It was Ramsey in to make the deflection.
He had a step, and it was just underthrown. I think he waited just a little bit too long to throw this. and throws it a little quicker. Maddox had a step and might have scored, but Ramsey was able to come over the top there and help him out.
Peterson, please report to the press box.
Is there a flag? I didn't even see. Oh, yeah, they put a flag down. So
Yeah,
Coach Merchant signaling first down. So roughing the passer, maybe? I didn't really see anything. The flag was thrown at the 49-yard line.
Referee pointing over at the Titan bench. I didn't even see an indication by the referee.
Maybe a hands to the face on a lineman? On a pass
they
rush?
moved it up to the 35. The line of scrimmage was the 48, so they moved it up 13 yards. Kind of a bizarre call there. Harris once again across the 30.
He is so quick. Just scoots side to side. His movement is so fast. His feet move so quick. It's kind of been a lot of fun watching these two tailbacks from both teams really get at it tonight. It has really been if you're an aspiring running back, you got two good role models out here to watch tonight.
Harris's vision is so good, and he can somehow sneak through the tiniest of holes and change direction while doing it. Communicating with his quarterback this time. High snap. Schuster brings it down and immediately hands off to Harris. LeDuc in on the stop for the Titans. So the Big Reds kind of taking a page out of the Titan playbook, so to speak here. Keeping the ball on the ground, picking up chunk yardage, knocking on the door now on the Titan 24.
That penalty seems to really kind of rejuvenate the Big Reds. That, long pass goes incomplete, and all of a sudden you give them a freebie, and next thing you know, I mean, you kind of start the waterfall, so to speak, here for the Titans. So Ramsey just kind of playing back there in that almost like a 4-4-3, 4-2-5. He's playing center field.
Schuster gonna pass, just gonna fling one out to the flat. Cephas Harris makes one man miss. Harris into the end zone for a Big Red touchdown. 24 yards on the pitch and catch. Schuster to Cephas Harris the third.
That's been a staple play this year, Brad. Just let that rush come, whip it out into space there. It's almost like a little toss sweep, but Cephas catches it and he's off to the races. And little stare down to Ramsey as he tried to close in on him, but you weren't going to catch him. And maybe said a little something there at the end, but we'll see here at the Big Reds. I think they're going to go for two. No, he's in there. No, extra point.
Harris's fourth receiving touchdown of the season. So 4 receiving touchdowns now for Harris to go along with 11 TDs on the ground. Ahmet Basic's extra point is good. 6:46 now left to go. Third quarter of play. Titans clinging to a 1-point lead, 22-21.
Yeah, nice opening drive there by the Big Reds to start the second half. Chewed up some time there, 6:46. We're not used to seeing those kind of drives today. So, they respond now. Now the defense has to respond here. Nice drive down the field. Titans have gotten it going the last couple times they've touched the football.
And they scored on their last 2 possessions of the first half. 3-yard touchdown run and a big, long run play right before the halftime break. We questioned perhaps that was a backbreaker. The Big Reds have come out and answered the bell, so to speak, like 2 heavyweight champions in the center of the ring, just slugging it out.
Yeah, I mean, this game has not disappointed. It's lived up to the hype for sure. 2 good, well-coached football teams, 2 great staffs, and they're putting on quite a show here for those in attendance.
And we kind of often get caught up in cliches, and you look at this one on paper, right, and you say, oh man, these 2 teams are so similar in terms of points per game, and Stevenson on this long winning streak after dropping a tough game on the road in week 1 against Rockford. And obviously, Chippewa Valley had the heartbreaking loss to the rivals from Dakota, but bounced back really well against Romeo last week. And everything we could have hoped for here tonight and more.
And if you've never been to Rockford, I mean, what an intimidating place to play. It's a massive stadium. I mean, they host the state track finals there. I mean, it's just it looks like a MAC college. I mean, it's a huge place, and very tough place to play, as you can tell. A lot of teams in the OK Conference have found out throughout the years.
The Rockford Rams, they grew accustomed to heading down to Ford Field, didn't they? They won a lot of state championships.
Dakota's first state championship in 06 was against the Rockford Rams.
Yeah, Rockford won a ton of championships in the early 2000s.
You know, Coach Mike Giannone at the time referred to it as taking a football final exam because they ran so many plays. They even had an HBO special on Rockford-Muskegon rivalry, and it was done on HBO. So,
yeah, terrific rivalry on the west side of the state. That's probably the only conference, perhaps, that could kind of compare to the MAC Red, I would think.
I would totally agree with that. Yep. Little keeper.
Yeah. Madonna ahead for a couple.
Well, a Big Red defense really flying around there. Stevenson's throwing a lot of stuff at him here to start, and they've only gained a couple of yards on 2 downs. So Big Red defense has really come out flying and getting that football and really cleaning tackles up well.
And that's one thing head coach Justin Newcomb of Stevenson indicated to me is it was blown away by the speed of Chippewa Valley. Big Reds have done a much better job of corralling Madonna after that long run on the very first play of the game. They've kind of bottled him up. They haven't really allowed him to scamper from his quarterback position. Spread look, 5 wide receiver set. Rolls out to his right. Madonna still on his feet. He's going to pick up the first down and head out of bounds.
And that's what they've done. They've gone 5 wide, and he just rolls out and then keeps it. And nobody comes up and makes the play, and he gets the first down. That's the 3rd time they've done that to the Big Reds tonight.
Chippewa Valley's linebackers and secondary really having some issues tackling.
Coach Wilson was furious on that sideline.
Yeah, anger geared towards Darren Hawkins there.
Your defense keeps doing things like that. It can make your coordinator not have a good night's sleep.
Madonna back under center here in this wing T formation. It's going to be the deep back.
That was Ramsey. That was Ramsey.
Ramsey and the carry.
Yep.
Ramsey coming off a 70-yard performance. An aforementioned win last week over Dakota. 70 yards on 7 carries.
And he had that fantastic run right before the half.
And pinballed around down there and changed directions and had the entire offensive line providing key blocks for him. And that's Madonna once again. The Big Red faithful in attendance, making some noise.
Cameron Frazier come up and making that play. Nice job by the Big Red defense there.
Leading the charge for the defense.
Big play coming up for both teams here. 3rd and long.
Number 6, Cameron Frazier.
3rd and 8. Ball spotted at the 37. The line to gain will be the 45.
It's a big down here for the Big Reds.
4:05 left to go, 3rd quarter of play. Big Reds took the opening drive of this 3rd quarter and took it right down the field, 80 yards to pay dirt. The mesh comes together. Madonna's going to keep it and get nothing.
Great discipline by the Big Red defense there. They had everyone going every which way, and everyone stayed home, played their assignments, and going to force the Stevenson Titans into a punt right here.
Only the 2nd punt of the game for the Titans. Caden Bollinger, the punter for Stevenson.
Number 19,
Zach Ernat, deep. Right about the 35-yard line. High snap, gets it down. Spiraling kick's going to go over Ernat's head. Take a Titan bounce inside the 20. And it'll be downed at the 18. So they flip the field there, and Chippewa Valley will operate deep in their own end once again.
Nice job, though, by that defense, especially after you came out and scored. To get this game back to a one-point game, get the Titans to give the ball back to you. And, this offense, we've seen it. When they get rolling, very few teams in the state can slow them down. So Coach Denreiter Merchant did a nice job of mixing up the calls that last drive as they hit Harris on that touchdown run. And see what they come back out with. They've done a nice job of moving Cephas all around the field tonight to kind of keep him active. And Maddox Altamirano, too, is starting to kind of heat up as well.
This time they go to Samar Hurd. We mentioned he's got all kinds of speed.
He got going, but Kwiatkowski was already running him down.
Yeah, he gets spun down hard.
Yeah. Well, Shamar's only about $150. I think that's about what Kwiatkowski is from the waist down. So, if he would have got it going, though, I love the play call because you want to put Shamar in a space and let him go because there's not one kid on that team that can run step for step with Shamar.
Talk about speed and space.
Oh.
Trips to Schuster's right. Barks out the signals. Takes the shotgun snap. Looks to his right. Goes back to his left. Harris outside the numbers. Cuts it back upfield.
Face mask.
Oh, boy. Harris starting to feel it now, isn't he?
I love the attitude. He is just such a tank. Nice little wheel route out of the backfield. Defense player just missed it. Could have even been a horse cow. He's pulling him down by the jersey, though, so that's probably.
Yeah, definitely not a face mask. Looked like he grabbed him by the shoulder pads.
Ryan Schuster starting to heat it up, too. He's put some nice balls right in some tough spots. And just thread the needle right there. Just that one underthrow to Maddox, but he ended up getting a penalty and breaking it up. He's had a nice game tonight, really distributing the ball evenly around the football field.
And when the Big Reds are rolling like this, it has to be an absolute nightmare for the defensive coordinator as Schuster takes off on the QB keeper.
You haven't seen it a lot this year, and I'm sure that's something that Coach Denreiter Merchant have brought up to Ryan is, you got to really make that read and pull. Not a lot of teams honoring his running ability. He is not a small kid. He's a big kid at 6'2", 200 pounds, and can get running just as good as anyone. And when you have Cephas Harris in the back that draws a lot of attention, you can do plays like this. That's a great run.
And that really keeps a defense honest right there. When you have a quarterback that can pin and pull that and take off and pick up a first down, it creates that third dimension to your offense now. And this one's a dead play right away.
Yeah, and look who made the tackle there in open
Madonna.
field space, yeah.
Yeah, he blew that play up completely. That's just good recognition as Big Reds kind of telegraphed that pass and went back to that wheel route for Cephas Harris III.
Yeah, almost like the one he scored on, and you weren't going to burn Madonna that time. He did a nice job of getting out there and making a nice tackle. And you notice how he went low on Cephas. Hit him right in the thigh pad and tripped him up, and he couldn't get his feet under him to kind of get his balance. And Maddox took him, Madonna took him down.
Under a minute now remaining in the third quarter play. Titans in front, 22-21. The only score of this quarter has belonged to the Big Reds. 24-yard touchdown pass from Schuster to Harris. Schuster once again, a QB sneak. Picks up a couple.
That'll bring up third down for the red and white.
And it'll bring up a third and about 7.
After the 2-yard loss, he looks like he got about 6 back, maybe. Yeah, short 7, long 6, depending on where you're looking at on the field.
So the Big Reds going to elect to head into the fourth quarter, trailing by just a single point. We'll keep it right here on Chippewa Valley Cable Television. Brad Fetters alongside Jeff Vitale. Been an entertaining game of football, to say the very least. Everything we could have hoped for here tonight in the MAC Red on homecoming. So we flip the calendar over to October and head into the second half of the MHSAA season. Both teams coming into play tonight with those identical 4-1 records. The Titans on the back of a 4-game winning streak, and they have been extremely impressive in all 4 of those victories.
Yeah, very lopsided victories. pummeled Grosse Pointe South at home. I believe that was like 42 to 8 or something like that. Handed Eisenhower their lunch, which, that's a big rivalry, obviously, in the Utica schools for years. Stevenson, Eisenhower, handled Dakota last week after the Cougars took the opening drive down and scored, and just took the wind out of their sails from there. I mean, this is a very, very good football team, and the Big Reds here. This is a big down here. I definitely think if you're Chippewa Valley, you could be in 2-down territory here. Although with your field goal kicker, depending on how close you get here, see what happens. But the Big Red offense is starting to heat up, move the ball a little bit. We start the fourth quarter.
What little breeze there is at the backs of the Big Reds right now, and it'll be Schuster again. Third straight design run. Look out. Schuster inside the 30, down to the 20, the 15, the 10. Schuster dives for the pylon, and he's out of bounds just short of the goal line. Ryan Schuster using the wheels to get the Big Red offense churning.
I love the play call. Maybe trying to get the ball to Cephas, but a quarterback draw. Look at the blocking. One guy missed, makes a nice cut there the outside. Look at the downfield blocking right here. What a great job of a downfield block. That's number 9. That's Darren Hopkins. Great job down there. Now the Big Reds inside the 5 at the 2. Going to bring in the tomahawk goal line offense here.
Schuster going to head over to his home bench. There was a quick discussion there with head coach Scott Merchant.
That's a long run for a short conversation.
Sure is. He wishes he would have had those radio connections that they have in the NFL. Schuster's an athlete, though. He's not even out of breath. Going to give it to Harris. Why not? Harris cruises into the end zone for a Big Red touchdown. Cephas Harris III's 12th TD run of the season puts the Big Reds in front for the first time in this football game. They lead at 27-22.
Yeah, great off-tackle run there. Nice hole, way to foul your blocks up the middle. Cephas gets on the board for the second time today. And Schuster's staying out there, so I think the Big Reds are contemplating going for 2 here.
Harris's 16th touchdown of the season. Yeah, 2-point conversion would give you a 7-point lead, so 2-point conversion chart says to go for it 100% of the time here. Schuster spreads him out. He's going to look to pass, and it's Cephas Harris
he got
wide
it.
open.
Picked it off the ground. He threw that off his back foot, Brad.
He was feeling the pressure and was able to float one out to the right-hand side, and Harris made a terrific individual effort to go down and snare that one off the field turf. Get another look at it there. Oh, what a play by Harris. Johnny on the spot. 2-point conversion is good. With 11:47 left to go in regulation, the Big Reds now lead at 29-22. Having fun yet, Jeff?
And I don't know. I mean, I'm not even playing. I feel exhausted right now. This is what you came to see, though. I mean, these are 2 MAC Red heavyweights. Kind of said that in the beginning of the season. This is as the dust has kind of settled. These 2 have kind of risen to the top. Romeo is still there. They're not going anywhere.
1 MAC Red loss.
The Titans got them next week. This is a team that can score too. We're in a barn burner with Chippewa last week, so we got 11:47 to go. I'm excited.
And plenty of football yet to be played here tonight.
I'll be staying up past my bedtime tonight, Brad.
I'm glad you decided to do that just for us. Nowhere else I'd rather be.
No, this is pretty fun. I did mention, I gave my my old teammates the 31-year shout out, but this team would train wreck us by about 7 touchdowns. So, with all due respect, that was fun back then. You can get away with being a 190-pound lineman. You can't do that nowadays.
Well, you guys are also 49 years old.
We've got a gas by about 2 plays into the first quarter.
Oh, you mean the 1990? Oh, you mean if you were to play
this team,
yeah.
Back, like if you were to time warp us or they'd still kill us.
I was gonna say you 49-year-olds couldn't compete.
They'd still crush us, even if we were our 17-year-old selves.
Different style of football than
Oh,
what was played back in the 90s. Just kidding with you.
Just watch the 2 longest yard movies.
All right, Burt Reynolds.
The wing T and the spread offense, the 2 movies.
Burt Reynolds versus Adam Sandler. Who do you got?
I mean, Burt Reynolds actually played football.
That's true. Florida State,
Yes,
right?
he did. So, not to mention, there were some bad dudes on that longest yard football team that were on the in the original. This is a huge drive for Stevenson. Now trailing by a touchdown here. The clock is not their friend.
Oh, Kwiatkowski.
He is just a man. Good God.
Went away from him, I think, a little bit on that previous possession.
Yeah, I agree. Even right before the half, like he wasn't even in the huddle. He's been cramming those 2-point conversions in all night. I mean, I don't know how you not have him on the field. Ramsey, you can hand Kwiatkowski the ball. Then you got Madonna that can keep it. I mean, their running attack is just insane.
Number 73, Captain Zachary Allison, along that offensive line, had to come out. Something to pay attention to. This time, high snap, and they'll go to Ramsey up near the first down markers once again. Boy, oh boy, you just can't keep this Titan offense down, can you?
No, and this offensive line is really starting to, the last series, the Big Red defense really came out, was flying and moving. Right now, the Stevenson offensive line has really got them going backwards, pushing them off that line of scrimmage and getting some nice running room for Ramsey and Kwiatkowski.
Something, too, worth pointing out is the 2 long sustained drives by the Big Reds to start this half. Titans have only had the ball once in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep that offense off the field. That's helping you.
Kwiatkowski,
nice move.
Look out. Across the 40 to the 35, the 30. Kwiatkowski, couple Chippewa Valley Big Red defenders near him. They're finally going to drive him down to the turf, but not before an outstanding run. Zach Ernat finally brought him down, along with Rayshawn Hester.
Give you an idea what kind of man Jordan Kwiatkowski is. There were 3 defenders closing on him, and not only did he not back down, he actually welcomed it. Watch this. I mean, he's looking to get blows. Look at this guy. That's man's run right there.
Jeremiah Mason in on the stop as well. Madonna.
Nice job there. Oh, got him, let him squirt through a little bit there. They might have had him for a loss. Ramsey saw that little bit of daylight and just jolted up in there and got a couple out of nothing.
Second down and goal from the 6-yard line.
Titans waste no time getting it back to the line. Madonna split off at the wide receiver position. They're going to stick with Ramsey at the Wildcat. He takes that high snap, able to get it down, but goes nowhere. Broken play there. Anthony Wright makes the tackle.
Yeah, the big man came flying in. Obviously, the high snap helped a little bit, but he came flying in there and took him down.
A lot of variables with that Wildcat formation. When you take the normal quarterback out and you put Ramsey in at the quarterback position, and just something a little bit different for the center to look at, and I think that's probably why the snap was so high.
Yeah, and you got Kwiatkowski back there, who is a little bit taller. That's kind of where they've had the success run the Wildcat tonight, is with him.
Kwiatkowski, the deep back this time. Madonna under center. Gets some movement along the defensive line. Chippewa Valley able to get back onside. Troy Davis in there as well. And finally the timeout called by head coach Newcomb and the Stevenson Titans. Well, you mentioned Rick Bye back in the first half, 35 seasons at the helm of Stevenson. They went back to the state title in his last season and suffered that 31-20 loss to Detroit Catholic Central, and had a familiar name at the quarterback position that Titans team did, and Jason Fracassa,
Yes.
grandson of legendary Brother Rice head coach Al Fracassa. That was a terrific Stevenson team.
Yeah, that team had so many weapons, so much speed, size, defense was outstanding. They were very, very well-balanced football team.
And it's so nice. Well, I say that, and to see Stevenson back. It makes the MAC Reds so much better to have a good Stevenson team near the top of the standings. And credit Justin Newcomb, mentioned coming over from Warren Cousino. Was a baseball coach at Cousino for 10 seasons. Was just a football coach for 1 before coming over here to Stevenson.
But, you mentioned Rick Coach By. I can remember back in the 80s and 90s when they were sending at least 1 to 2 guys to Michigan every year. And, just big monster offensive linemen. And some of them even made it to the NFL. I mean, they had some teams that could just be physical, bruising. 1986 making it to that state finals. That team as good as they were. A lot of tradition.
So here we go. 4th and goal to go. Witowski takes the direct snap and walks into the end zone. Big play call there on 4th down. They roll the dice and come up big.
Yeah, the Big Reds have not come close to stopping that play all night long. I think you're going to see Stevenson go for 2 here. Chippewa has not stopped that Kwiatkowski Wildcat with the 2 lead backs and just plowed his way through.
His 3rd touchdown of the night, and he is 2 for 2.
What the heck do I know? They're going to kick it.
Well, they have a pretty sure-footed kicker we saw during warm-ups.
Booting him. Haven't seen him yet tonight.
It's Kyler Castle, senior kicker for Stevenson to tie the score. Snap is good. The kick is up, and it too is good. 7:53 left to go. Score knotted up now at 29 apiece.
Nice answer by the Titans. Might be whoever has the ball last. But, they needed it. They got it. Nice big run there. Kwiatkowski got down to the 7 there, set it all up. And the Titans with that behind that big offensive line punch it in.
And when a game is this tight, it's usually one snap that makes the difference. And quite often it's a turnover. Stevenson Titans coming into play tonight are a +9 on the turnover margin. +9, Jeff.
That's pretty impressive 5 games in the season. I mean, that not only they take the football away, they don't turn it over. And I'm trying to replay the game. I can't remember. No one's turned the ball over tonight.
No
it's
turnovers.
Been a very clean game.
Yep. Very few penalties.
Both offenses executing very, very well. And at times, both defenses playing very, very well. The hard part with these 2 teams playing defense is there's so much talent on the other side to try to stop. It's just so hard to account for everybody. And I think both teams offensively have done a nice job of attacking their strengths today, which is why you see a 29-29 score right now.
So the Titans have offered you different kind of looks here on the kickoffs. They've kicked one short, and this one's a little bit of a pop-up kick. Samar Hurd catches it. Look out. He's got jets. We've talked about it. We've talked about 3 facets of the football game, the offense, defense, and special teams. And now it's the kick return team that comes up with a big one. Shamar Hurd all the way down to the Titan 15, so the short kick doesn't pay off. And, yeah, that far side referee is down flat on his back as we'll get another look here.
Yeah, there was a lot of commotion over there. It looked like someone was running off around the field. It was the official. I don't know what happened, but he got going, and next thing you know, he must have got run over by one of the guys coming back. And what an open field tackle there. I think that was number 15. That's Ahmed Rohr. And, yeah, that official's down. I mean, he got absolutely pasted.
So while
Mr.
they tend
Schill,
to
the
him,
athletic director over there taking a look at him. I mean,
yeah, that was a blind side. He probably had no idea what was coming and got some big boys running at full speed. I can only imagine that collision.
what an amazing open field tackle, too. He is not an easy guy to grab when he is in top gear like that. Nice job by Ahmed just sitting in there, grabbing him, getting him to the ground, saving him. He's up.
And he's going to be feeling that tomorrow.
He may be okay to finish the game tonight, but I wouldn't put much on the calendar for tomorrow. I'll tell you that right now.
Get the ice bath ready, right? And the Tylenol.
Hey, he's a hockey player.
Well, At the very least, he's an official.
Yeah. He took a shot. He's ready to go. Got a little sense of humor. He might stood up and just says, "Is that all you got?"
Now good to see him on his feet, and he jogs over to his position along the goal line. So big special teams play.
I'm sure his body is throbbing right now.
Oh, absolutely. Line of scrimmage, the 15-yard line of the Titans.
Chippewa scores here, Brad. They're going to hit their average.
Harris straight up the middle, dragged down from behind. Titan defensive line swallowing him up. LeDuc in on the tackle.
We mentioned Dakota Grosse Pointe South. Dakota just takes the lead going in the start of the fourth quarter, 31-28. Grosse Pointe South came roaring back to tie the game at 21, and now it's 31-28 Dakota as we start the fourth quarter there. Chippewa will be going to Grosse Pointe South next week in the final MAC game of the regular season for them.
And that game's being played at Dakota, so the Cougars struggling a little bit at home.
Yeah, Cougars have Eisenhower next week, and Romeo plays Stevenson.
Yeah, 3 really good ball games next week. We'll have the Ike Dakota game right here on our airwaves.
Yeah, nice job there. Stevenson brought a little bit of pressure there, and there was just not enough guys for the Big Reds to block, and they took Cephas down there for about a yard loss. This will be interesting here. This is the Dakota game last week. They kind of hit Maddox here on a slant, a little closer to the end zone, but missed it a couple weeks ago. And this could be in a spot right now where, depending on how you move it around, you could have him wide open again.
Shamar Hurd just checking into the ball game as well. He's in the slot to the right of Schuster. Titans show blitz. 4-man front for the Titans defensively, and it was Hurd across the middle on a crossing route, in and out of the hands.
Yeah, I was thrown behind him, but I'll tell you, he had Cephas in the wheel. He was open in the end zone, nobody covering him. And the Big Reds here are going to have to go for a field goal.
Yep, they're going to.
This is kind of what we saw in the Dakota game. Tie game. They went for the field goal. They didn't convert to move the chains, and the Cougars come down and score, and that's how the Big Reds only lost the season so far. But watch, look at Cephas.
Yep.
He opened on that wheel, he kept going.
So it'll be a 31-yard field goal for Ahmet Basic. We know he's got plenty of leg. It's off to the left-hand side, not quite on the left hash mark. The kick is
Nailed
good.
It looked like he might not have got all that either. It looked like he got it through, and the Big Reds take a 3-point lead.
Altamirano on the hold. Puts the Big Reds back in front. Seesaw second half. Big Reds up 32-29.
Well, now, now we got a situation where the Big Red defense is going to have to come up big. We kind of seen this before.
So the Titans dodging a huge bullet after the big, long kick return by Hurd. They force a 3-and-out. Force the Chippewa Valley Big Reds to kick the 31-yard field goal. Difference right now, 32-29. 5:59 left to go in regulations. We get another look at the kick. Ahmet Basic has it teed up. Pounds it deep once again.
Way deep. That's through the back of the end zone.
70 yards.
Well, with a chance to tie for the lead in the MAC Red, this is probably the biggest series the defense has faced all season. And of course, on the other side, flip side, this is the biggest drive of the season for the Stevenson Titans.
Titans gonna have to go 80 yards in order to reclaim the lead.
Well, they've grinded out an 88-yard drive tonight.
Yep, 88-yard drive was their longest touchdown drive of the night. Also had 2 80-yard drives, so this is a Titan offense that's capable of going on long, sustained drives. They pick up a first down on the very first play of the drive. They pick up exactly 10.
Just a big pile of scrum, and the Titans pushed their pile forward and won that one and got 10 on the opening play.
Titans with 2 timeouts. Chippewa Valley with all 3. See if the Titans continue to use up a lot of clock or if they'll get back to the line of scrimmage quickly. Kwiatkowski nowhere to go there.
Yeah, I think that was Ramsey. He got the ball, and he was immediately hit in the backfield. Kwiatkowski ended up being the left wing on that play, and boy, he was met right away as he got the ball. Referee's going to give him the line of scrimmage. There was no gain there. He never got a chance to get going.
Ethan Neep with the tackle.
Here's the 5 wide that we've seen all night, and they've pretty much run out of this.
Yep, Adonis kept it out of this formation.
Here he goes.
And he will do just that. Whoa. Crosses the line of scrimmage and picks up positive yardage. Wow, he just refuses to go down.
Got 7 on that. Big Reds have had no answer for that.
It's almost like a Big Ben, like Ben Roethlisberger when he gets going.
A lot of guys chasing, a lot of arm tackles. You're not going to bring that big guy down with an arm tackle. No. Try again. Under 4 minutes. 4 minutes, 11 seconds to go here.
3rd down.
Stevenson 63 yards away. Big Reds can't allow a touchdown here. Touchdown gives Stevenson the lead. Nowhere to go, a 2-yard loss.
It was Ramsey.
Coach Wilson down up a little blitz there, and we had some guys squirt through and got him for a 2-yard loss. 4th and 5 here. There's a lot of time left. Stevenson has 2 timeouts, so what do you do here? As you turn the ball over on downs here and give the Big Reds the ball inside your territory, this is almost game over. I think you're going to see them go 5 wide again. The Big Reds have not stopped it all night.
Dial up the play if you're senior signal caller. It's who you probably want the ball in the hands of.
Oh, almost that Wildcat. Look, Coach Wilson going to call timeout.
And first of the half with 3:07 now left to go in regulation.
Play of the game right here, Brad.
32
to go.
29. Big Reds out in front on the 8 of a 31-yard Ahmet Basic field goal.
This game is not disappointed. Far stands, pretty packed. This stands over here, very packed. A lot of people tonight came out and watched a very good high school football game. Someone's going home happy and someone's going home not.
Big Reds have outscored the Titans here in the second half, 18-7. If you remember correctly, the Titans had a 22-14 lead at halftime.
Well, they've done it by keeping that Stevenson offense off the field, Brad.
Yep. This is only the 3rd time the Titans have touched the football. Had a punt back in the 3rd quarter and a touchdown here in the 4th. Big play here, 4th
No
and
receivers,
5.
Wildcat. I mean, this is man-on-man football right here.
Line to gain is the 40. It's going to be Madonna.
Oh, he got it.
Draws contact, pushes forward. Needed 5, got 8.
That's man-on-man, and Stevenson won that.
I think nearly everyone in the stadium knew Madonna was going to keep that football, and he just used that power run game. He drew contact and just was able to plow through. Witowski
They're just sled driving the Big Reds.
up to the 50. 2:40 left to go. Second down and 4 to go.
They actually moved it up to the 49.
Sure did. Witowski on the direct snap and picks up another yard.
They're just going strictly pretty much wildcat direct snap, and they're just going to pound it until the Big Reds can stop it.
Yep, hat on hat. 2:10 now left to go. This time Ramsey takes the snap. He's got enough for a Titan first down with exactly 2 minutes left to go.
Now they're punching that ball, 44-yard line. Clock ticking now, under 2 minutes. Big Red defense looks a little tired.
Yeah, they look gassed. Ramsey changes direction. He's going to go to the left side this time. Looking for an edge, cuts back, and finally goes down inside the 30. He quickly gets back up to his feet. Titans want to get this quickly up to the line of scrimmage. They know they have the Big Reds gassed.
They might need to call a timeout here. Just let these guys catch their breath. I know you want to burn them all, but this Big Red defense looks very tired, and Stevens just pounding.
Witowski to the 20. Yards short. Second down, 1 to go. Minute 25 left to play. Witowski takes a direct snap, picks up the first down and more, dragging a tackler. Inside the 15, down to the 13. Clock stops momentarily to move the chains.
Ramsey gets a breath. Kwiatkowski goes out. Now they're just pounding. I don't know why they're not calling a timeout here.
Kendrick Denson unable to get into this game as it's Ramsey down to the 5. Under a minute now. Ramsey, right side, cuts it back up, down to the 2. 35 seconds, and finally a timeout is called. And it's going to be called.
Just to move the chains.
Yep. The officials timeout momentarily to move the chain. So it's 1st and goal to go. Witowski straight ahead. Touchdown Titans. They made it look easy, Jeff.
They did.
80 yards to pay dirt. And they left only 30 seconds for the Big Reds to operate. 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns by the Titans. They put them back out in front. And what a game by number 21, Jordan Witowski. The Titans, Castle adds on the extra point, and they now lead it 36-32, and some time came off the clock again during the extra point.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a bad habit. They've been doing this all night. It's an untimed down on an extra point, and that's 9/10 of a second, and no one's caught it all night. Nobody. Coach Merchant's pointed out right now.
So our clock is correct. There's 30 seconds remaining in regulation. 9/10 of a second ticked off the main clock here on the big board, and Scott Merchant's looking up at it. He's pointing at it. So we'll probably have another delay as they correct the clock. And somebody's going to have to talk to the scoreboard operator here at Chippewa Valley, because he's got to be on top of his game.
Might be time for a training.
Well, I don't know. It doesn't appear that Merchant's going to win that argument.
I mean, how do they let 9/10 of a second kick off this late in the game and on an untimed down?
And that was a big extra point, Jeff, because the lead's now 4. So an on-net basic field goal does you no good. Chippewa Valley's going to have to put this ball into the end zone. Start thinking about long kick returns here. You got good ones deep. Cephas Harris, number 7 in Reds deep, along with Shamar Hurd. Hurd returned the last kickoff down to the Titan 15-yard line.
On the last kick, they pooched it, and Shamar got it and almost broke it, but took it all the way down to the 15-yard line. So
now the officials are going to come together.
Everyone's together.
And I assume the conversations regarding the clock and the fact that the touchdown was scored with 30 seconds remaining in regulation.
I mean, there was 30 seconds on the clock when they scored the touchdown.
And every second matters in a ball game like this. Flashback to that Michigan-Penn State game, remember? When Coach Lloyd Carr argued for some time to be added onto the clock. And Chad Henne was able to hook up with Mario Manningham.
Or the infamous Spartan Bob clock play.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring that one up as a Michigan fan.
That hurts.
And because of that, the Big Ten started bringing in their own clock operators. The home team wasn't able to provide one anymore.
Does not look like they are changing the clock. Interesting.
There's a look at the big board here at Chippewa Valley High School. 29.1 seconds remaining. So what will the Titans do? Will they kick it deep? Will they perhaps squib it? Caleb Schultz urging the Big Red fans in attendance to make some noise. And they're going to kick it deep, see if it makes a goal line. It does not. It's Cephas Harris. He's going to take it at the 5. He cuts to his left across the 30 up to the 35. So the Big Reds will have about 23 seconds to go 65 yards.
They do have 2 timeouts.
So you don't need the home run ball right off the bat.
No, I mean, you can hit a couple 20-yard plays and get yourself down to the 30, just about 10 seconds to go, maybe a little underneath it, and then hit one to the end zone. But
so Harris gets 30 on the kick return, just wasn't able.
And Harris is out right now. He's not even in the
to break it. And now the Titans are going to use a timeout. And they'll have 1 remaining.
Oh, Harris went to the slot. My bad.
Timeout, Stevenson.
No, here we go. 23 seconds left to go. Titans in front, 36-32. A win here tonight for Stevenson clinches at least a share of the MAC Red title. And quite the season the Titans are having within the MAC Red, as they have pretty much dominated every opponent they've played. They've come in to play quite the Big Red team, and they've answered everything that Chippewa Valley's been able to throw at them and more here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's very tough to stop that power run game. They just wear you down the whole game. And that's kind of what they've done. So 22.6 seconds to go. The Big Reds has to go 65 yards. A field goal does them no good.
And they're going to bring in some extra blocking as Nicky comes into the game.
2 safeties deep.
Schuster looks to his left, locks in on a receiver, catch is made, and then going immediately out of bounds. Ernett, nice play there,
Well,
senior
that's a terrible
captain.
spot. He went out of bounds at the 48. They're marking at the 46.
Now they're going to put it at the 47. So 18 seconds left.
But more importantly, he's out of bounds.
Right, and that will stop the clock and keep the clock stopped until the ball is snapped. Trips to Schuster's right this time. He looks that way, he's flushed out of the pocket, and he's going to throw it, and this is going to be an intentional grounding call. So it'll be a loss of down and distance. It's essentially a sack.
Yeah, he came off his right end spot. Schuster never saw him and just buried him.
We'll get another look at it. Nothing Schuster could do. Didn't get it back to the line of scrimmage. Easy intentional grounding call. And this will back the football up to the 35. We're going to move it back all the way to the 30. Well, Chippewa Valley's going to have to take a timeout because as soon as this ball was spotted, the clock was going to start just like a sack essentially. So they have to burn a timeout. Down in distance really doesn't matter. You got to get to the end zone.
Shamar staying on the sidelines here. You gotta get someone who can get down the field pretty quick vertically. Maybe even have Harris come out of the backfield on a wheel or something like that, like they've been able to do tonight. But I mean, you're gonna have enough time for maybe 2, if you're lucky with a timeout, 3 plays. If you can just hit somebody out of bounds, but I mean, you got a long way to go in 2 to 3 plays. So.
Well, you hinted at it. Chippewa Valley took that kickoff all the way down to the 15. They were in the red zone, went 3 and out, were forced to kick a field goal, and you said it kind of felt like that Dakota game where they were settling for a field goal rather than being able to punch it into the end zone. And that's been the difference. They settle for a field goal, and the Titans go 80 yards right down the field and score the go-ahead touchdown. So we talked about it. Which team was going to be the first to blink? That was the Big Reds. They blinked. They kicked the field goal. Schuster going to have to air it out, and he's going to get brought down.
It
was a high hit.
Yeah, good God.
High hit. Any surprise? Patowski makes the tackle.
I mean, that was a clothesline.
Patowski in on the tackle.
You got to call a timeout here.
Patowski 4 touchdowns in the game and now a quarterback sack. I think Coach Merchant wants some clarification because it was a high hit on his quarterback. They have to use their last timeout. With 8 seconds remaining.
The Big Red's going the wrong way.
3rd and
they were out to the 47. They're all the way back to the 22.
We say down in distance doesn't matter. It's 3rd and 35. You now have to go 78 yards to win this football game.
In 2 plays. I mean, maybe you try to hit someone at the 40, 50, and then try to chuck it to the end zone. But
boy, nothing that offensive line could do there.
That was a night train lane tackle, for God's sakes. I mean, I don't know how that's not a personal foul.
Devontae Love got beat on the edge there by Kotowski.
I mean, that should at least put that ball to the 37. That is their last timeout, too, so if you hit something, you got to be out of bounds, or you're not going to get a second playoff.
Or do you go to the last page of the playbook where all the trick plays are and maybe perhaps run some sort of hook and ladder type play?
And if you're Stevenson, I mean, yeah, you want to push everyone into the middle of the field and defend the sideline, really. You don't want them going to the sideline.
Good protection. Pass is complete. Altamirano going to be tackled inbounds, and the Titans are going to come in and spoil homecoming. Stevenson Titans come away victors, 36-32. They claim a share, at least a share, of the MAC Red title.
Yeah, whale of a football game, Brad. You know, the team that had the ball, well, not sort of last, but, you know, like you said, the field goal came back to haunt the Big Reds because Stevenson just marched it right down the field and scored. And the Big Reds were unable to answer with intentional grounding and, you know, just a couple of setbacks didn't give them a chance to try to at least win this game. So, you know, big win for the Titans. The Big Reds got to rebound next week and go to Grosse Pointe South, trying to get some momentum to finish up the season going to the playoffs.
And what a game by Jordan Kwiatkowski.
Oh.
4 rushing touchdowns, including the game winner, as the Titans were able to drive 80 yards down the field to pick up the go-ahead touchdown with just 30 seconds left in regulation and really force the hands of the Big Reds, and they could do nothing with their 4 final cracks. A big victory here tonight for head coach Justin Newcomb and his Stevenson Titans as they now improve to 5-1 overall and a perfect 4-0 in MAC Red play as somehow the Titans survived this gauntlet that is the MAC Red and will look to put the finishing touches on a perfect league season next week as they will take on the Romeo Bulldogs
Are they
at home.
hosting Romeo in that
Yep.
game? Okay, so
Stevenson Titans will be at home. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Romeo put, 34 up last week on the Big Reds. I mean, this is a team that can score. They get hot. But also, in the same time, too, Dakota held them early in the season to 14 points. So, the question will be which high-powered Romeo offense shows up here. But, Stevenson definitely has no walk in the park next week. They take some comfort, obviously, that game is at home. But story game tonight was the Stevenson running game. It was awesome, and Big Reds just could not stop it at times, and they needed to.
Chippewa Valley falls to 4-2, 500 now in MAC Red play at 2-2. They will take on Grosse Pointe South on the road next week. Well, that'll do it for our coverage here tonight on Chippewa Valley Cable. I'd like to thank our hard-working crew tonight, including our director, Jim Calderon. For Jeff Thrift, I'm Brad Fetter saying so long. We'll see you next week as we'll have Eisenhower at Dakota, same time, same place, 7 p.m. Check us out online on the YouTube channel with the kickoff slated for 7 p.m. We'll see you next week. It's Brad Fetter saying so long. Once again, final score, the Stevenson Titans 36, the Chippewa Valley Big Reds 32.